Assalamu alaikum. Raheem here. Welcome. Let's slay some demons. Brothers and sisters and brothers, I have a couple of things I want to point out, but the purpose of this presentation is an ongoing series of explaining the angel. This is chapter 7. As I said, as time goes on, as time allows, a daily or maybe twice a week, whatever the case may be, I will try to explain, take one chapter of the angel and explain it, not exquisite detail, but give you the basic idea of what's going on with it, so it's there for you to study. So I've done 6 chapters already. I've explained them, show you how they work, primarily to give you the mechanism of how they work, because each one has its own personality and own subtleties. Believe me, there's no 2 chapters that are alike. Each of them requires intense study to figure out what it means. Some of them took me years to figure it out. Not that I was focused on one chapter for years, but I was focused reading the whole thing, and I would have to go back and forth, and sometimes understanding of one chapter would shed light on another chapter. So they're intertwined, interconnected. So it's not an easy situation, because you're dealing with the mind of the God, the original God. That's what you're dealing with here, brothers and sisters. They took the mind, it's like they took the mind and imprinted, because, right? I mean, your thought is force, see? And you can change, thought can be converted to memory and then converted back to action again. That's something I want to talk about another time. Right? Because you take, and it's like an atom. An atom can split and release energy, but it's holding energy. Energy is contained in it. So that's what happens with your brain. You take energy, right, thought, and you take and put it, you atomize it, so to speak, in memory. So it's there. And it's just sitting there until you split it. And then energy comes out and you talk about it or whatever. But it's just sitting there. And that's what books are. That's why I call them atoms. And I call the angel the most powerful atom. Because atom, that's with double T, A-T-T-O-M. Because that's what it is. It's the memory, and your memory, right, is a template of your thought process. Your memory is a template of your thought process. So if you took your thoughts and put it into, your memory, and take your memory, right, because memory is words, right? So you take and put it in a book. Now you have your thought process like atoms in a book. For somebody to come and release them, right? And to change those words into thoughts again. Once you change the thoughts again, right? Okay, there you go, your software. You change your thoughts again. So now you had the power of that book. Because when you read all these books and everything, that's what you're doing. You're taking someone's thought process, because that's how the book got created, someone's thought process, and you upload it into your brain. And then it just sits there until you start using it. It sits in your memory. And then if you start acting on it, right, then it means you split those atoms, and now the energy comes out, and now and so The more powerful it is, the more powerful, right, you're going to present it. So when you talk, in other words, if you read a book about nothing, then when you talk about it, it's going to be about nothing. It's not going to have any impact. But if you read a book about mathematics, right, and then you take it after that mathematics, you might be able to build something. See? But what you get, you got it from a book. There's someone's thought process put in that book. Because they put it into words, memory of words. So when you look at the angel, and I was prepared to really talk about this in detail, like I'm talking, so I'm going to take and reserve this conversation for more detail because it really needs to be explained in very detailed, right, in a very detailed way. But what's happening is that when the angel is actually the mind of the original God encoded in a book. That's what it is. So it gets you thinking like you're supposed to be thinking originally. It gives you a real original mind back. See? But you have to split those atoms. See, if just memory, it's not going to do anything for you. So you just read it, it's not going to do anything for you. You got to split those atoms. Once you get up there in memory, then you got to split those atoms. You got to take it unsplit, then all of a sudden it's action. See, then when you're talking about it, you're acting on it, right? Then you're acting, and you find that you be talking about a powerful way, and you be doing more powerful things because now you got a more powerful mind. See? You may not understand it, but the release of this angel is causing all these worldly events that you see right now. It tells you in the angel that these things didn't happen until the seals were broken. You won't understand now. You understand. Maybe you don't understand now. You understand later. Because thought is power. Thought is pressure. And everybody has thought that's alive. So I'm saying, by putting our thoughts out there, right, that my thoughts are pressure and my thoughts are more powerful than this. That means it's affecting their thoughts, whether they like it or not. They can't help it. They can't help it. It's affecting their thoughts whether they like it or not. Now, how to the degree, how it's affecting it, that's a whole different thing. But we can see all these things happening around. So we see it having a traumatic effect. I don't care what they say on Twitter and Facebook and all that kind of crap. I'm looking at the world. What's happening? America's on its knees right now in something that they can't even see. But it's in the angel. So we'll talk about that in more detail another time. But Jeff, we'll talk about that all the time because I said I want to go into chapter by chapter. I got backed into this. There wasn't a topic I was going to talk about today because I got 3 topics I want to talk about, and I should have really saved them separate from this because I really don't want anything to interrupt the chapters as I reveal them, right? Break them down for you. I'm doing a great service. I'm breaking these. I'm showing you how they work. I'm giving you everything you need. You know, it's like you want to lift weights, right? Okay, go to the gym. They prepare everything for you to do it with. Now you got to do something with it. That's what I'm doing. I'm like a mental gym. I'm giving you all the things you need. See, every time I take and give you these books every day, now I'm giving you what you need, right? You want to put, lift, curls, whatever you want to do, right? That's what it is. So I'm giving you the book. So now you have to take, because before, you had no idea what these books meant, none whatsoever. And now you got this gym. I'm giving you this gym, mental gym, and now you can jump in there and use it. Oh man, some people, I go to gym regularly, right? And at least before this thing came up, right? And people come in weak, they ain't been for years, right? And they come in, oh man, it's too heavy, I can't do it. That's the whole point. You can't do it now, but you gotta start lifting. You will be able to do it later. But they think like, oh, I can't lift it. I said, that's obviously you can't. That's why you're here. So you can learn to lift it. So you look in the book and say, oh man, I can't understand that. Look, when you take confusion to the mind, the same thing as soreness to a muscle. Same thing. Because when you start lifting, the more sore you get, that means the more you build, the more no pain, no gain. The more you lift, the sore you're going to get. That means your muscle is building. And same thing, when you start studying, you get confused. What that mean? That means your brain is getting stronger because now you're getting confused because now your brain is working. It wouldn't get confused if you weren't trying to figure out something with it. But once you keep on, then you figure out, then it's not confusing anymore. Now you above, you went to the next level. Okay, brothers and sisters, we're going to leave it there. We're going to move on to I got 3 topics I'm going to talk about. And I'm really going to have a presentation. I tend to have a presentation on these in much more detail. I'm just going to give a general overview of them because a couple of things came up recently and people had misunderstanding. And like I said, I'm always, and I shouldn't be assuming anything. Like Mr. Yusuf Shah say, if you assume, you're making a fool out of, you're making an ass of you and me, I think you said. Assume. So when you assume, you're making an ass out of you and me. Well, that's what you're saying. So that's just, but I don't have too much of a choice because I don't have too much feedback in this presentation, this context. I don't really have too much feedback. So I was just thinking that people understand what I'm talking about. And obviously they don't. But when I see the feedback, what they're saying, then obviously I didn't get the point across clearly enough. So I'm going to talk about 2 things. I'm going to talk about them in brief, right, in general. And I tend to go in more depth later. But hopefully I'll say enough today to get everybody cleared up on these 3 things I'm going to talk about. Okay, justice. That's a very powerful thing. And most people understand. I mean, see, when you go to school and you learn, justice is the topic. When you go to school and you learn mathematics, right? Okay, you start off with, 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 3 = 4, that kind of stuff, right? Then you move on to subtraction and division, right? And then, multiplication. And then you might get into algebra, right? Then you might get into trigonometry. I mean, you can move step by step, right? Calculus, vectors, tensors. I mean, it's all kinds of, And so the thing is that mathematics, I mean, that's just all mathematics. And the same thing, justice is the essence of mathematics because it's an equal sign. It's what's one side equal sign, the other side equal sign. But how does that mean? See, that's pedestrian, which means, the basic. But you get very complicated with that. And so I'm going to have to say a couple of things because to give you a hint what I'm talking about. See, because Elijah Muhammad used to say, if you can't apply this to yourself, then it's really not any benefit to you. Okay. If you understand that we came with the universe, we're the essence of the universe, then it's impossible for us to be unjust. It's impossible. Right? If we came from the originator, self-created, it's impossible for it to be unjust. Because to be unjust is to be out of sync with your environment. Be out of sync with your surroundings. That's unjust. If you're totally in sync, you can't be unjust. How can you be unjust? Unjust means you're out of balance, you're out of sync. And weak is impossible. That's why we immortal, because we always adjust every circumstance. Every circumstance we adjust to it. We totally in sync all the time. We went through energy deprivation, we adjust to it. We went through hell and everything else because that was the situation, we adjusted to it. Some other people, they try to impose that on, and it went into this distinction, it became instinct. Right? They tried on the so-called American Indians and worked with them, wiped them out. We adjust every situation. So now we went to that 400 years, and now we're about to come out on top. So oh man, look at them. Yeah, okay, we adjust the situation, we submit to Adam, and now we're about to take it all back. So they can talk all they want to talk. We adjust every situation. So let me get into the meat of this thing. Jacques grafted devils are unjust by definition because they're not in sync. They was only partially in sync during their 6,000-year rule. But even during that period of time, they wasn't in sync. That's why I said they was made to make mischief and shed blood. Because if they was in sync, they were just, those unjust acts. And that's the kind of action they would have during their 6,000-year rule. Specifically, right, in his last iteration, which means this Adam. See, there's different Adam. This last Adam, this is the one they talk about in the Quran, this last Adam, the last version of Adam. That's the one that came into being 500 years ago. That's the one you read about in Genesis, that Adam, the one we deal with right now, right? He's the worst of all of them. He's unjust by nature. It says it. He's made to make mischief and shed blood, right? So he's not making mischief, shed blood all the time. It's like, you got to put things in perspective. It's like, everybody has a certain degree of frustration, right? And people take out their frustration in different ways, right? So the more wicked you are, they're the weak. In other words, of all the nations, they're the weakest, they're the most wicked one. Because they would rule, and that's the way their rule would be, making mischief and shed blood. They're the most wicked of all of them, of all the nations. Right? So you got someone that, all this frustration and everything, what do they do? Or they go beat up on their wife, see? And then they take out their frustration on her, or take it out on their children, right? Or take it out on their pets. They better not do that because they got the whole country after them, right? Or take it out on somebody, and then they're cool. So in other words, it's like going to sleep, and then you refresh. So it's not like you go to sleep all the time. You have so much frustration, it's a certain degree, a certain ratio of frustration you have. And so once you vent it, then you're cool. But you got to vent it somewhere. And so these psychologists these days and everything, they tell you, well, go get your punching bag or something. Punch the floor, punch the door or something. You'll be beating up on your wife or something, right? Because they know it's not, do it all the time. It's just once you vent it, then you're cool. Or they give you some drug or something. They drug you for it. So you understand it's like a ratio, right? Until a ratio between you being mellow and you being frustrated, right? So say you're frustrated 20% of the time, and you're mellow 80% of the time. 20%, 80%. There's a ratio there. And Europeans had the greatest ratio. They're like frustrated like maybe 60% of the time. That's why they drink so much and all this stuff. They try to deal with it. It's hard to control their anxieties, their frustration and things. It's very difficult. So that's why they drink, smoke, and all that stuff they do. That's the a reflection of that. So keeping that in mind. So if Adam was made to make, if Adam was made to make mischief, these are Europeans, right? And specifically talking about American Britain, specifically, because Britain is, if you understand the angel, Britain is Adam and America is Eve. They're the worst. That's why they're going first. They first to go. Okay. So if they Adam is amongst his own people, he makes mischief shed blood, right? He's going to make mischief shed blood amongst his own people. That means his own people, he's going to be unjust to them because he's making mischief shed blood. It means he's being unjust. And when you're unjust, that means that's oppression. Injustice is oppression by definition. So it means they were oppressed their own people. And we go back and see European history, and that's what they always did, especially during the so-called Dark Ages. They was oppressing their own people. Look at the kind of justice they had. If you elect someone, you just call them a witch. Uh-oh, they call you a witch. Or you're in trouble then. Because then all of a sudden, right now, you got to go on trial. And what kind of trial was? They would take your hand and put it in boiling water. And it depends on what neighborhood you was in. If your hand didn't heal, that means you was a witch. So they kill you, burn you up. If your hand did heal, that means you was a witch, right? Because how would your hand heal in blood? What neighborhood you was in? So then they kill you. Or they would dump you in water. And they'd take and dunk you in water. And if you survived, that means you had to be a witch if you survived it. Because how could you be on the water for 20 minutes and survive it? But if you didn't survive, that means, right? You see, that was justice to them. And the way they torture people, when they put you to death, they didn't just like hang you. What do they call it? They would take horses and split you in half and take it, cut out your bowels and all slowly. That's what they were doing to each other. And the nobles, they was doing this to the serfs. I mean, there are people under them. And in fact, they was raping them because they had this thing called, I can't think of the name of it right now, whatever, I can't think of the name right now. But the bottom line, it means right of first night. That's what it meant. That means if there are any people under them want to get married, then the noble had the right to sleep with the woman the first night before she ever slept with the man. She had to be a virgin. She had to be a virgin. And he had the right to sleep with her before her husband did. So he was raping her. And that was their justice. You see? Because they were doing it against their own people. So now you got to put some mathematics to this. Because if they say 10% of their justice was, let's say 20% of their interaction was unjust, right? We said 6%, but I think we said 60%. That means any interaction with them would be 60%. Most times, you deal unjustly with everybody 60% of the time, right? We're saying, you got to understand this ratio idea. Okay, let's look at another way before I take it to the next point. Because both of these things come together. Okay, every nation has so much garbage and everything, right? So much refuse, and garbage, and every nation has that, right? So I mean, some people have to be the ones to take care of that. So they say 60% of the population has to take care of it, right? It has to be taken care of, otherwise, place can totally pollute and everything. So they got a certain part of the population have to take care of that, right? Okay, so put those two things together. So now you got an oppressive society. Just add them now, oppressive, 60% unjust, right? They're oppressing each other, right? And then, they got the serfs and everything. Those are low ones, right? They got to take care of the garbage and the waste and all that kind of stuff, right? But now, what happens if they take and they come up with this racism? See, racism is an ideology that allows you to justify you take somebody else's stuff. Because they don't deserve it. They're not human. See, you dehumanize them. Because that's not something you're born with. That's something that you come up with, like capitalism or something. So say, okay, I'm going to take these people's stuff. And so now I'm going to reduce them. And so now I'm going to beat up on them. And I'm going to make them do all the dirty work. So now, all of a sudden, if you can take and apply that to them, then all of a sudden, you're free. You're free society now, because you're not unjust anymore, not to your people. You're not unjust to your people. And you ain't sitting around here taking all the dirty jobs and that kind of stuff. You're not serfs anymore, not your people. Because you got this whole people up here that's doing that, that you can beat up, and you take all your frustration out on one, right? And you can make them do all your dirty work. When you understand that, you understand nature, what the hell's happening here. Because before they brought us over here, that's what they was doing themselves, and now they had us to do. They had us to kick around. Had us to do all that dirty work. Had us to beat up and hang and torture and rape and everything else. See, first night, remember I told you about that one? Because that's what they did in slavery, right? You could, a slave master only one could have a relationship with a slave woman, the black slave woman. He's the only one that could do that. You had to get a black male slave. He had to get permission from master to sleep with a black woman. You see what I'm saying? Do you understand it now? I want you to really understand what's going on here. So they would never give it up, because if they gave us up, right, then they had to go back and press themselves again. America would not be a free place anymore. It'd be look at all other places. Every nation's doing it, except the original nation, because we in captivity, so you can't tell what we would do, right? I'm just saying that we wouldn't be, but you can't tell because we under their control. But look at the Arabs, who they take their frustration out on the women, on their women. You see? We go to India. They take out on the lower class, they got a caste system. So they take out on the lower, the lower, when they call it untouchables. See, everybody's doing it. So in China, they don't have that. So they take it out on the Uyghurs or somebody else, right? Or on each other. They got a communist system. Everybody's doing it. It's just, you got to figure out who's their scapegoat that's going to take it. Who's going to take all that oppression? Who's going to have to absorb all that frustration? They have to take all the dirty jobs. Do all the work they don't want to do. You understand, bro? I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. So if you understand, they're never going to give it up. If they give us up, that means America will not be this basket of freedom anymore. Because then they have to take it, frustrate each other, and they will collapse overnight. They'll be tearing each other up overnight. Remember, they went to war because they were trying to stop it. They weren't trying to stop it because altruism, because they loved us. That's a whole other story. It was economic reasons. But the point is that if they don't have us, like when they go in, when these police shoot a black person, you don't hear them shooting a white person 10 or 20 times. You don't need to shoot an elephant 20 times. So why do you have to shoot a person 20, 10 or 20, sometimes 40 sometimes? Why? That's frustration. That's not law. That's frustration. That explain that, and they know it. They know that. They know that, and they're not going to tell you that. And that's why they don't want to punish the police, because they know that's a society. That he represents all society. Because when he does it, he goes over the news, and the other folks, right? They sit around and that release, because they see on TV, so they release, yeah, that's another nigga they got. It's a release for them too. You may understand it. You think you don't get emotionally attached when you watch stuff on the movies? If you see your actor, your favorite actor, right, everything's working right, you come out happy. So that's relief. If you see if he gets beat up and everything, you come out frustrated. So it affects you. So when you see, so when they see these cops knocking these guys away, 14, 20, 50, 60, 60 shots, that makes them feel good to that. That releases their frustration. Because they're acting on their behalf, they know it. You understand, bro and sister? I'm trying to get your seat. So that's why this stupid ass Farrakhan, man, look, that dude, he has no idea. But he's gone. That's why we'll never let you go. He wants 6 states here? We need to get totally away from these people, totally. Okay, you live on the 2nd floor, and your neighbor lives on the 1st floor. You got a big confrontation with your neighbor. Oh, man, you can't live. So you're going to move next door now? That's what you're going to do. Okay, we're going to leave here. We're going to get away from you. We're going to move next door? Okay, I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to address that in more detail at some other time. But I hope you got the point there. What's going on? See, because we need to, like that's what I must say. It says, when Shua might come, he will go to the root of it all. And we get to the root of it. Because that's their nature, they can't change it. So we their frustration, we their kicking. We're their punching bag. They relieve their frustration. And if they get rid of us, America will change overnight. See, you think all this freedom stuff, it would be gone. This justice and all that all be gone. There would be no justice for them anymore. They would be treating each other just like they was treating us. Just like that, that's the way they treated each other way back in the so-called Dark Ages, back in Europe. That's how they treat each other. The way they treat us now is the way they treat each other back then. So now they got us to do it too. Well, let's vote on this. Are you serious? We're going to vote. Are you serious? Because you don't understand a damn thing. That's why you talk that stupid shit. I said I will get animated on this one. I get animated on this one because I need brothers and sisters to understand. That's what I'm trying to talk in the most clearest sense. Because I'm hearing all this. See, right now, like I told you, first of all, they took and they said, oh, you shut down for 30 days for whatever. And all of a sudden, they came back up within 7 days, probably sooner. And all of a sudden, all this stuff I'm getting bombarded with. There's Christian stuff, and there's Sunni stuff, and Farrakhan kind of stuff. Well, I mean, it's all over my page. I can't even find more coming. I put something out there 2 seconds, I can't even find it because all this garbage that got in there. Because they're doing everything they can to stop this. And I tell these clients, get off my page. I have to get, I block whatever. Because what they're doing is trying to, minimize it or confuse it so much that you can't, you can't even see what's going on. But it's not stopping anything. Like I said, the information's coming out. That's why I'm breaking these books down more, so you understand it better. Because the more you study, and every time you split one of those atoms, understand it. Yes, that's making your mind more and more powerful. You're more mind like God, and you got to make those slots. Slot is not prayer. You got to put that together. Because if your heart is weak, it's not going to handle it. They're connected. See, because you mess around, get too much up here, not enough here, then you have a heart attack. Okay, that's one. Let me just break this for a second. Now we're going to talk about just prophecy. Okay, briefly. We are not bound by prophecy. Prophecy is not something they wrote and then we gotta do it. That's not the way prophecy works. Prophecy is like, like the weather. You get, once you get more information about clouds working, all that kind of stuff, right? Then you say, okay, based on all this information, it's going to be a hurricane. Well, you didn't make the hurricane happen. You was able to figure out that it happened because your information, the more information you have, the better you can predict. You didn't make it happen. Just like eclipse, you figure out how the stars and the planets and everything move and everything, say, well, it's going to be an eclipse on a certain day. You didn't make it happen. What you do is you got enough knowledge to figure out when something like that would happen. Same thing with prophecy is. The scientists, now I have to back up a little bit here, right? They can make things happen because they gave us this book, and like Angel, right? It's got this, it's added, right? It's got information that, right, that we can take and make things happen by splitting those atoms that they put in the book, right? But they didn't make me split those atoms. They didn't make me take and break those seals. That was totally my choice. Now they looked at it and says, okay, this person, they was wise enough, right, to figure out. And no, let me say quickly, Elijah Muhammad, the way he told it, did it, that's not the way he did it, but you understand, the way he talked about it, they had no idea of computers back then. There was no concept of computers back then when he was told that. So therefore, he told it in a way, you understand? It's like when he talked about they used 100% dynamite to blow up the moon. Well, that's because he said dynamite, because that's the most powerful explosion they knew. They knew about atomic bombs back then. So the most powerful explosive dynamite, that's where he used that term. We got to be real, brothers and sisters, because it's not enough dynamite in the solar system to blow up the earth. He just couldn't do it. See? So he said 100% dynamite. You just get the idea that was the most powerful explosive they knew at the time. You couldn't do it. Dynamite. That's no story. I mean, you had to put. He said he had to drill a hole in and put dynamite. You know how much dynamite, even if you even thought about doing it, how much dynamite it'd be more bigger than the moon. I mean, all the dynamite you would have to have. Anyway. So we have computers, and I talk about this a little bit all the time. I'm not going into detail here. Because you couldn't trust a dream. How could you trust a dream? Well, I dreamed this stuff going to happen 2,000 years, 10,000 years from now. Then you did. How you know it happened or not? They're supercomputers, computers like these, the most powerful computers they have right now is nothing compared to what we have. And we still have it. All that technology that we have, we don't have to rebuild all over again. We have it. But it's off planet. That's why the Quran says, strong gods, they can't get to it. Right? Because we're going to be out there. Anyway, so that's how you do it. Right? So they take and they calculate, put every note, all the atoms. I mean, he has to calculate all the atoms in the universe, every one, and keep track of them, and then find them. And when you understand, you can so many marvelous things you can do with that technology. I'm not going to talk about here, but the point is, so they look back and says, okay, looking putting all the math and everything, This is what this is going to happen. Not probability. The only people that can take and mess that up are the people that are wise enough to understand what the prophecy actually says. That they can do something different. And that mess up everything else. See? Mess up everything else after that. And they wouldn't do that because they'd be blind themselves, because the prophecy is the prophecy is our eyes. How we can see what's going on. That's the eyes to give us, right? So we can see, have foresight. So why we take our glasses off? It's like riding down a super highway and throwing sand in your eyes. Why would you do that? You know how that's going to turn out. So that's the case. So we're not bound by that. That's a Sunni set of fatalism. Like, you can't do anything. You can't control anything. God controls all this stuff. That's bullshit, right? We control everything. We control ourselves, right? But the point is that you don't know the process, so you're going to do whatever you do, and that's already factored in. So only people, Elijah Muhammad said that. He said no one knew what Suleiman would do. He said science didn't know. They didn't know what he would do. Because once he figured the angel out, and he knew exactly what it was saying, he could change it if he wanted to. So the only way he would do that is he wanted to blind himself, or he thought he had superior knowledge, right? That he didn't need an angel anymore. He needed the prophet because he had foresight. And there's something to that. Because if you understand pressure, you understand it to this level I'm trying to teach you, then you can prophesy based on that. Because some of the things I've told you is just based on, like I was telling you about the spark. That wasn't based on the angel. That was based on knowledge of pressure. So, you can, I'm not going into detail about that. The point I'm trying to make, so I'm going into too much detail here. The point I'm trying to make is we're not bound by those things. Now, I'm not saying we have, what they call it, we say we have freedom of thought, free will. That's Lord, you don't have free will. No one has that, because free will means chaos. Universe will not. There's no such thing as free will. You think you have it. You don't have free will. If anyone you understand vectors, because every decision you make is based on all the forces that you. Vectors means force. If you need to read up vectors, get a book on vectors for dummies, right? Not knocking anybody down, because I read books, pray for dummies. If I want to get a basic idea, right? Quick point, right? And then I go in more detail. But what happens is vectors are forces. It's mathematical construct of force. It's like an arrow. And so you have all these different arrows in your life, right? And what happens is when you just make a decision, you make a decision on all the factors that are affecting you. Those are all the vectors. And there's a mathematical principle behind that. It's a very simple principle once you understand vectors. And that's how you make a decision. So there's no such thing as free will. But the point is that, like I said, you had the power to look at mathematics. In other words, 5 plus 5 is 10, right? But you could say 2 times 5 is 10, still equal. Or you say 3 plus 7 is 10. See what I'm saying? So you had the power to manipulate the mathematics, but you still can't change the fact that 5 plus 5 equals 10. You can't change that fact. That's the point. See, free will means you can make 5 plus 5 equal 3 plus 8. That's what free will means, if you really understand it. So within the constraints of mathematics, yeah, we can manipulate mathematics in different ways. See, so that's what will happen, is that Suleiman could take and say, okay, well, no, that's the outcome they wanted. They predicted, but I think I can make this change to get a different outcome. In other words, if I saw a way that I could say, if I said this or I didn't do this, right, they would save all my people. That's something that maybe they didn't see. Then I might make that change. You understand what I'm saying? See, that's the whole story about Jonah. Let me say one quick thing about that. I had a lot of problems with my family about that. Because we read the story of Jonah, He was told to give a prophecy. He knew that prophecy wasn't going to happen. He was told to do something he knew it wasn't going to happen. So he ran away and escaped. Said, I don't want to do it. He didn't want to do it. He was forced, he was coerced to do it. He had to spend 3 years in Guam and go on trial and kind of stuff, but he come back and do it. He knew he wasn't going to, but he had to prophesize it anyway. So I went and did it. I prophesied. I mean, if you say you're going to do it, if you say you're going to do something, you got to do it 100%. You don't bullshit around, especially when you're dealing with righteous people, you're dealing with the God and whatever. So when you're doing it, you do it right or you don't do it all. So I'm prophesying something I knew wasn't going to happen because it wasn't an angel. See, the prophecy is to go and say that America was going to be, because that was the prophecy, said it would be destroyed after 40 years. That would have been in 2015, during Obama's rule. He would be the last president. Elijah Muhammad actually said the last president would be a black man. So I'm saying that's not an angel because it would be a black president, but he won't be. See, the one after him that would be the cause of the problem. That's what he's saying. Joseph is the one after that Pharaoh. But I wouldn't do it, and I was honest about it. I told everybody that's what it said because I thought about it. I said, well, I didn't believe because they said, well, maybe it's something I don't know. So maybe I need to go ahead and say this. So I did it, and I caught a lot of flack from my family. Because you said it for Obama, because everybody got inspired, everybody got religion. You said it didn't happen, see? And that was the thing, because Jonah, that's what he got pissed off with God about. He says, wait a minute, see, you made a fool out of me. You told me to go and do this, I did it, now everybody think I'm a false prophet. That's what he was all pissed off about. See? Now everybody think I'm a false prophet. I didn't want to do it, you made me do it, now you didn't do it. I knew you wasn't going to do anything, you didn't do it, so now I look like a fool, right? If you read this, that was that whole controversy about. But I went and did. I did hers. I said, I went and told everybody, my family, everybody, I ain't hold back. See? In the back of my mind says, maybe it's something I don't know yet. Maybe it will happen that way. But I had nothing to back it up. But I went and did it anyway. And I'm still paying for that right now. But the point is, if I hadn't went and done that right, then the angel would have been dead because all the stuff that's happening right now, it wouldn't have happened. Because remember, the whole thing is based on the sign of Jonah. It said no sign will be given but the sign of Jonah. So if Jonah hadn't done what Jonah did, then I wouldn't be able to teach the angels to you now because the things I'm telling you happen wouldn't be happening. They'd be happening some other kind of way. And then you would be able to say, well, yeah, he's saying that, but that's not what's happening. You understand what I'm saying? I hope you understand, brothers. I'm going to leave it there. Okay. Take one break for a second, and then we get to the last part. Okay, brothers and sisters, this last part here. Then we get into the angel chapter 7. This is a short chapter, that's why I'm taking time. This is it's very short. You'll see when we get into it. That means that it's not powerful, but it's just short. Elijah. Now you got all the controversy about Elijah. Well, anyone that knows angel and knows scriptures all knows that these Negroes are just lying their butt off because nothing in there says, oh, Elijah, he's the eternal leader of the nation of Islam. Where's that in the scripture? Where's Elijah ever say anything like that? No such thing. In fact, Elijah didn't even get to the promised land. Read in Exodus, he wasn't allowed to go. Did you read why he wasn't allowed to go? Because he was blamed for some of the stuff that Farrakhan did. Because he was blamed because he said he didn't make it clear enough. You know, he didn't magnify Suleiman enough so people would understand that Suleiman would come after him. He didn't give him credit enough. You have to read it, then you see what I'm talking about. See, so he was partially blamed for that, and because of that, right, he was allowed to look over, but he wasn't allowed to go. See, because he came back, he's alive. He came back, right? He'll be back, right? When the four winds blow, he's going to show up. That's when Farad makes his. That's when Farad is active, and the world knows about him. That's when him and Suleiman begins to communicate, because it's Suleiman the one that calls him to tell him to bring bring those four winds down. It tells you that. We're going to talk about that in this chapter 7. Okay? But he wasn't allowed to go. Now, whether Farad would change that or not, I'm not going to get involved in that one. Elijah's Farah's man. That's his messenger. I'm not getting involved in that. I don't have nothing to say about that. I love Elijah Muhammad. I don't care if he didn't speak clear enough about me or whatever. I don't care about that. I love the man. And nothing's going to change that. Nothing's going to change that. Because what he had to do, I don't care. What he had to do, you understand? He had to jump in this toilet with us. He didn't hold his breath. He didn't hold his nose. He jumped right on in and started dragging our people out. He didn't come after Lazarus. He came after the Levites. But that's still, I don't care. Because they're our brothers and sisters. They're adopted, but they still our brothers and sisters. He jumped in. And nobody else was doing it. At a time when it was like, you just don't do that. So that's Farah's man. That's Farah's decision. If Farah wanted to go along with the prophecy, that's up to him. I don't have no bone picking that one. I'm not going to say anything about that one. See, that's between him, because he's Farah's messenger, not mine. You see. So when all you got to do is read up about Elijah, right? See, he's a Levite. They don't tell you that part. He raised the Levites. He didn't raise the tribe of Judah, which is the tribe of Shabazz. We're going to talk about that in a minute. It says it right in there. It says right in Exodus. He says it was the Levites that was with him. It also says in Malachi, right? It says that's what Joshua would do, the messenger of the covenant, the fulfiller of the covenant. He would come, he had to clean up the Levites that Elijah Muhammad left behind. But see, that's one of the problems, and I'm going to say this briefly, then we're going to get into it. One of the issues is that, see, the Levites, you got to understand what it says. It says, Elijah will prepare the way before me. Who is the me he's talking about? Remember, there's this messenger of the covenant. Now, Elijah was a messenger, but unless a messenger of the covenant suddenly come to his temple, that means that it can't be Farad, right? Because Farad once set the temple. So he comes to him and clean up. So who's mess he clean up? He's cleaning up Elijah's mess? Of course not. He's cleaning up Aaron's mess. It's right there for anyone that wanted to see it. He cleaned up that shit that Farrakhan's made. So he's got to clean it up. See? Because Aaron messed up everything. He turned the earth, said it turns the people's back towards Egypt. They said, we ain't going nowhere. We out of here. We're just going to clean it up. We're alchemists. We're going to turn shit into honey. See? So he had to come and clean it up. So it says, "And I will send my messenger to prepare the way before me." So who is the me? That's the one that's coming. If he's preparing the way, remember it says he was suddenly coming to his temple, so he's preparing the way for the one that's suddenly coming to his temple, the messenger of the covenant. That's the one that actually fulfills the covenant. That's what Joshua does. He fulfills the covenant. Elijah Muhammad didn't say he was taking us to the promise. He never said he's the one that's going to take us home. He says the messenger. He never said that stuff they saying. That would be Joshua's job. What it says in Exodus, that's the measure of the covenant, the one fulfiller of the covenant. That's what Joshua fulfilled the covenant. But it says, prepare the way before me. So what's that mean? That means Elijah was supposed to do. So Elijah was taken away. So that means the Levites, remember, the Levites are a priest tribe. It tells you also that in Melchizedek, I talked about that the other day. Melchizedek, they're a priest tribe. That means they were supposed to be, anytime a messenger or a messenger or a prophet, everything show up, they were supposed to support him. They were supposed to study scripture, support him. That's their purpose. They were grafted in, right? They're not, the Levites, they're not the sons of Israel. That's why it says called sons of Levi. They're grafted in tribe. But they went through what we went through, but they're not inheritors of the covenant. But they have a covenant because they're not Abraham's seed. Then it says the seed of Levi. Right? So it's just like if you have adopted children, right? They don't get your inheritance. You might get something, but the point is that your biological children get your inheritance, but your adopted children, you're going to take care of them. You're going to treat them nice like other children. But when it comes to inheritance, right, it's like the firstborn, he gets it, even though you got two sons, right? The firstborn is the one that gets it. So the biological children is the ones going to get the inheritance. So the Abraham covenant applies to them. So what that means is prepare way before, because that's what they were supposed to do. In Elijah Muhammad's absence, they were supposed to prepare the way for Suleiman. See, spread Elijah Muhammad's message, continue his economic program and everything, and keep on building on that. And they didn't. Because this lion dog Farrakhan come and deceived them and said he'll make war with the saints and overcome them. He came and did and messed it and took over them because the Nation of Islam, Elijah Muhammad's Nation of Islam, the Levites, that's the demon possessed man in the Book of Mark. And they were possessed by demons because Farrakhan is a demon. His father's the devil, ain't it? That's what a demon is. Excuse me, hold. Someone's at the door. Back, brothers and sisters. That's why I say I hate to do this during the day. Unexpected interruptions. Anyway, where I left off at, I was talking about the Levites. They were supposed to take and prepare the way before Suleiman, like the messenger of the covenant. They didn't. See, and that's what Farad got upset, partly with Elijah, according to this prophecy, because he didn't prepare them well enough. I'm not going to get into that one, right? I'm 100% supportive of Elijah Muhammad. He didn't get everything right. The lessons tell you he didn't get everything right. That's not the point. He did his job, right? That's good enough for me. So that's what the whole idea about Elijah. So the thing is, they come and say he's internal leader of Islam. Prove it. Exodus says he doesn't even make it to the hereafter. Says he gets to see the promised land, but he doesn't get to go there. See? Now, again, like I tell you, this war, it says no one knows day and time. That's Farad's decision. He's the one going to war. Says Farad says Michael's angels go to war with the dragon's angels. That's his decision. Now, if he's going to do it in sync with prophecy, or he's going to got his own timetable, that's totally up to him. I think he's going to be totally consistent with prophecy. That's what I think. See? But I can't say because he's the God. He's the God this time. He might want to change it. See? Elijah Muhammad thought there's a good possibility he might change it. Right? I don't think he will. For all kinds of reasons. I know I'm not going to do it. At least not till we get home. Because I need to see 100% clear. Because I have to get you home, brothers and sisters. And I can't be getting you home blind and cockeyed it. And be 100% sure of my every step. See? And I'm totally confident in Farad. Read chapter 19. It says he was called faithful and true. The scientists had trust him. Elijah Muhammad trusted him, and I trust him 100%. Period. Why wouldn't we be doing this? Because right now, I mean, these people, I mean, they could just come and tear me apart if they want to. If Pharaoh wasn't protecting me, he said, he who guards Israel needs to sleep on slumber. I know I'm protected. Scriptures tell you that. When he told Satan, what Jesus tells Satan, right? How many angels said he could call if he wanted to? Because that's what Satan said, why don't you call the angels and just jump off a cliff and call the angels come and get you? Okay, you think I'm stupid? And if I did that, the angel probably said, just be stupid, let him fall. Did that dumb, right? See? Anyway, I wanted to point that out. So he's going to tell you, there's nothing in scriptures to back what they're talking about. There's someone coming after Elijah, the messenger of the covenant. It tells you in Joshua, it tells you in Injil, it tells you all the scriptures. And said he'd be the one to break the seals. That would be his credentials. It says no one can do it but him. That means you should be, definitely, you should have no doubt who it is. You can be no doubt who it ain't, because they haven't even broke the seal, even complained to break it, then you know right away you dismiss them. So you dismiss Farrakhan right away. It's just because he has show no evidence he's broke any kind of seal, so he should dismiss him right away. He couldn't possibly be Suleiman. He couldn't possibly be Joshua. So the only ones you should consider is the ones that came and said they broke the seals, and then have evidence that they done it. So if that's not clear enough for you, then nothing will. Okay, let's get into the presentation, brothers and sisters. Okay, brothers and sisters, chapter 7 seals the elect. I'm just going to mention this, right? Keep thy silence, O God, hold thy peace. What we're talking about here is we're talking about enemies. This is not in conjunction with chapter 7, but I want to mention this, right? It's talking about thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. See, our enemies have lifted their head. See, they gain the strength. They have taken crafty counsel. In other words, they try, like what they call it, clandestine, right? True, secret, against our people, against God's people. We God's people, right? And consulted against our hidden ones. See, we're not going to talk about the hidden ones. And I talk about they won't be hidden anymore, would they? They have said, come let us cut them off from being a nation. See, they've already done that. That the name of Israel may no more be in remembrance. They just want to get rid of, in other words, not just because, get rid of us totally. They want to get rid of us totally, right? They have consulted together with one consent. Now, they're all together, they unite on this. All the nations, they unite on this. They are confederate against it. In other words, they organize, not that you can unite, but they're also working together. They are confederate. When they confederate, that means they're working together, right? Now the tabernacle, Edom, now you don't know how these different pieces, I'm not going into details here, but the one we want to look at right there, Ishmaelites. You know who they are? That's the Sunnis, Arab Sunnis. They're part of it. So why is Farrakhan telling you, hey man, we got we gotta get with the Sunnis. He's trying to drag over Sunnism, right? He wants you to go to their mosques and pray with them. They're telling these your enemies. It gives their name, Israelites. Their older brother, But they're not the one that, they say everything belongs to them because they're older brother. But their older brother by Abraham's maid, we the son by Sarah. That was when the God sanctioned. That's the one that got the inheritance because he was married to Sarah, but the maid wasn't. So they said, no, we're the oldest son, we should have it all. And they do have it all. They got our religion, they got our land, holy sites, our wealth, they got it all. See? And they working together with all these other people. They ain't just by themselves. You see, if you don't understand this stuff, you understand how, I told you Farrakhan is no good. God ain't communicated with God. If he's telling us to go with our enemies, first he's telling, oh, well, we're going to bring devils in NOI, right? And Dr. Labor ain't no devil. And Elijah Muhammad told him, don't call devils no more. Yet he had Khalid walking around calling devils for years. And he's supposed to be the spokesman. But all of a sudden he got this epiphany, oh, we shouldn't do that anymore. See? And now we got to try to save America. See, and look around here. See, and it says they want us to become as dung. You know what dung is? It's shit in the earth. And that's what it's done. It made shit because everybody despises us. We're shit in the earth. Everybody despises. We're clowns, we're whores, we're pimps. We got demons all over with Mark Mars and Mark Harvey, Steve Harvey, and all these clowns, right? Middle air fools everywhere. Women shaking hands all over there with fools, with drug addicts, with pimps. We don't know anything. We're clowns. Who's controlling that image? Who's paying for it? See? Who let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. Oh, they take all the holy places for themselves. They've done that. And now, and that's what I'm telling you. Hey, Farrakhan is your enemy. He's helping them. So you can disregard. Look, I know the demon's going to disregard it because we don't want them anyway. So you keep on going along with that. The brother says we're going to shake you loose from them. I tell you, he's going down. See, because we fight with the scripture. We don't modify. We don't fight with psychology, all that kind of stuff. We fight with scripture and mathematics. So they say, oh, we don't say the scriptures corrupt the story. We just explain it to you. It's right there. The Ishmaelites. They're working with them. That's the Ishmaelites, that's the Sunni Arabs. So how in the hell we supposed to be comporting with them, right? Going their prayers, going their mosques and everything, when they're enemies. And that's the whole reason why they come on and spread the Sunnism now, because under Sunnism eschatology, we're nothing. We're not Ishmael. We're not Isaac. See? Because once we just niggas that come to Islam. Because they're saying that false Israel is Isaac. They know it's a lie. But Isaac saying, yeah, we Isaac, and then they trying to fill a problem, saying all land belongs to us. So they fight. See, they're all confused. I told you, all this stuff going in the Middle East is around Abraham covenant. Everybody's trying to get it and trying to get rid of us. They want to make shit in the earth. It says it right there. Okay, bro, sisters, I'm gonna leave that there. Let's go move further into it. Okay. Chapter 7. After this, I saw 4 angels having stood upon the 4 corners of the earth, holding fast the 4 winds of earth, in order that they may not blow wind upon the earth, nor upon the sea, nor upon the tree. Now, they talk about this configuration. I told you there's two major configurations. This is the third configuration. I never really talked about it very much, but in this case right here, because the other time you see it, you see the original nation. They're the eyes in these nations. But in this case, they got the winds there because they're holding back the 4 winds. Who are the ones that stand upon the earth? It says the angels stand upon the earth, right? That's the face of a man, Satan, the calf, and Friday. Those 4 angels stand upon the 4 corners of earth and hold back the 4 winds. What it's talking about. So what it's telling you is this is the structure, right? This is the structure, right, at that time. In other words, this is the structure that will occur before what's going to happen next. The next verses. Okay. And I saw another angel stepping up from rising of the sun, having sealed God living. He cried with a voice great to 4 of whom was given to treat unrighteously the earth and the sea. In other words, that's the 4 winds. He's holding them back. See, who cried to the 4 whom was, and it says, you should not treat unrighteously the earth, nor the sea, nor trees, until we have might seal the slaves of God of us upon the fourth. It's there. Um, he's holding. Okay, that's Suleiman here. He's down. He's this. Okay, where we at? This is in the process. Let me put it this way. This has happened, right? Because this has happened before the four winds blow. This has happened before the war takes place. So what it's telling you is that I don't know if I can tell you this too much. I can't say too much on this one. It's telling you, in other words, let me put it this way. Suleiman is rejected by, he tries to talk to the Nation of Islam, and he's rejected. So then he leaves them and he starts talking, right, to Abraham's seed. Okay? Now notice where it says Benjamin down there, that's the witnesses, right? So that war hasn't started yet. The American forces, Israel, they're still in the Middle East. So at this particular time, right? So he's not talking to NOI anymore. See, he's now talking to his people. He's trying to wake his people up. That's the best I can tell you on this, brothers and sisters. That's what it says. That's what it says. That's what it says there. It's rising, right? And it says who was sealed. Now, if you notice clearly, right, I'm not sure of all these interpretations out there, but it says only ones actually sealed was the top one and the bottom one. So it's getting a time frame because this happens before the war takes place. It was about to take place. This already happened. So what he's speaking to, Suleiman is speaking to, I just get a little hint here. See, they're part of the hidden ones. He's speaking to his people now, right? See, he's about to wake them up. Because when the war takes place, right, I think I've mentioned this before. I said that the first to have to wake up would be the leaders. Because once everybody wakes up, they have to guide the leaders. They have to be they're the leaders. I just leave it like that. I'm probably saying too much here. So that's what's happening. Only one that actually sealed, read it. Only one that actually sealed is the bottom and the top one. That's telling you that when this occurs, because right now he's waking up, he's starting to wake up the leaders. Because they have to wake up ahead of the resurrection, the brain. See, he has to get that brain working. He has to get the brain working, right? What I said Lazarus is the dead body. Suleiman is the mind, and he's the spark in it that's trying to keep it alive, trying to bring it back to life. But first, he has to get the whole brain going, right? And the brain gets the body going. It has to build enough electricity to get the body going. I'll leave it like that because this really requires a really long conversation, right? If you notice, only two seals, the top and the bottom. So that means it happens before the war. So that means the leaders are starting to wake up. And then next, and I saw, and look, a crowd much numbered. Now, I'm not yet, this is very hard reading because I say it's transliterable. Sometimes I try to read it, I get tongue-tied. But basically, if you're reading and study it, what we're talking about right here, this is after the war has taken place, right? And the resurrection is taking place, the demon's been thrown out, right? And we've been delivered, right? We're over in the middle, we're over in Arabia now, because the Sunni, right? Not the Shia, rather the Shia, they're not coming here, so that means we'll be over there. That's what it's telling you, right? See. Is anything else here? Okay. And then it says, did I say here? Did I say here? Okay. Then it talks about the ones that went through the tribulation. Who is that? That's the Levites, right? Elijah, Muhammad's NOI, and the Sunni, right? Because they're part of water. The water is part of the tribulation, because the tribulation part is basic waters. I should have actually put that down where I said thunder. That should be rivers there. I didn't change that, right? Because I said the flood is going to be a flood of humanity, not actually water, right? But the ark, everything outside the ark is in tribulation. You understand? Everything outside the ark of tribulation, because that's the waters that cause destruction, that the ark is floating on. It's the water that the ark is floating on the flood waters. So the flood waters is a tribulation. That's what's destroying everybody, right? And so the ark is the first 9 there. Remember, there's only 9 in the ark, and that's so when you see there, we say rainbow, Elijah, so forth, so on, right? Okay, that's the ark. And on the ark is floating on the water. So they're in tribulation too. The Sunnis going to go to tribulation. Also, the Levites. They said they're going to clean themselves up. They said they're going to clean themselves up during this tribulation period. And these, answer one of the older persons said to me, these have been thrown about rose white, who are them, where they come from. And he said, the Lord to me, have you known? He said, these are coming out of the tribulation of great, and they washed and rose them, they wiped them in the blood of the Lamb. See? Now they want to listen. So they ain't all this other BS anymore. Now they listen to the Lamb. Right? Through this, they are in sight of the throne of God, right? The throne of the God right there is Elijah. God is, that's what, when you see the one under, every one of these so-called gods on here, right? The one under them, that's the throne. Okay. So Elijah's the throne here. So, well, I thought you said Elijah wasn't making the hereafter. I'm not going to that right here. Right. So they're coming out. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe Friday gonna make that decision. So I'm not gonna comment on that. And these are coming out of trip, and through it, they are a sacred throne, and they are rendering sacred service to him day and night, divine habitation to him, and setting upon the throne, and will tend upon them. See, setting upon the throne. So in other words, they listen to Elijah, or one who takes place of Elijah, who is sitting in Elijah's seat. The other thing is that either that will be Elijah, and that's why it's going to make that decision, or it's going to be someone that's going to take the place of Elijah, right? But we see Levites right there, that person has not been identified. I identified everybody else, but that person hasn't been identified yet. That's the person that's going to be the Lord over the king over them, right? That person is the one that you see in the book of Mark, right? That's the one that starts talking after. Remember, the demon-possessed man, he didn't have a voice. Legion spoke for him. That was Farrakhan. He was teaching people. But once Farrakhan and his demons were thrown out, he began to speak for himself, right? But see, I told you, Nathan Islam will be taken down from within because they've been inspired by this teaching, and now they're getting it clear, and now they understand who Farrakhan is. They're going to take him down from within. That's going to happen any day now. They're going to take him down from within. You understand Scripture? And the one that's going to lead that, that's the one that's going to take. We sit in that seat where you see Levite. He's the one that's going to be the one that's going to rule the NOI. But he's going to take him through. He's the one that's going to guide him through the tribulation. But he's the one that's got to. He's got to take down Farrakhan. He's got to stand up and take Farrakhan down, and he's going to do it. It's happening. It's in process now. You'll see it soon. That's all about, brothers and sisters. I gave you the mechanics of it. Try to explain to you how it works, so you can look at it and study it. And that's all I'm going to do on that one. Okay. That's it. Okay, brothers, I'm going to leave it there. Hope you understand. If you have any questions, comment me. I try to, when someone comment me, I try to explain. I try to address it in a timely manner, right? And those brothers and sisters that's waking up, right? When I see you out there fighting, you're out there doing battle, right? You're going toe-to-toe with the demons, fine. See, you might want to think about podcasts, right? I'm not sure about that. I haven't gotten that technology. I got so many things. My daughter told me, well, I'll check it out. Well, maybe I will. said, think podcast. I think you go on podcast and really talk, the angel or whatever. I'm not sure how that works. I don't know if you cost any money or whatever. You might want to think podcast. But if if I see you out there and you mess around and take a couple of punches or whatever, I'm gonna back you up. Sometimes you're out there and sometimes you say something that's a little offbeat or whatever. No problem with that because you're out there fighting, right? Sometimes you swing and you miss, right? So therefore, I just help you get that swing. Make sure you get a better swing so you slay more demons. That's what we do. We work with each other. Like I said, we all work. We start thinking in terms of brothers and sisters. That's the kind of way Farad wants to think. That's why he came and said we're his uncle and aunts, because we're brothers and sisters. But yet in your family, you have a father, you have a mother, right? They're still family, but you have to respect the father for being the father. But he has to produce what the father produced. He has to take the responsibility of the father. And then you respect him for doing that. Same thing to mother. Same thing with Farad, right? He's your brother, right? But you have respect for the work he's doing because he's saving your life. So you're getting respect, but he's still your brother. He's not some super supreme being somewhere that you gotta, every time you walk around, I gotta fall on the ground and start kissing his shoes. And that's that devil stuff. That's not brother or sister. That's what, we'd be a twin, you'd be able to talk, just like you got an iPhone right now. If you had his phone number, you'd call them. And you would be able to just tune in on him, hey brother? But you ain't gonna be sitting around here wasting his time either. Man, all that crap is going away from here, right? But when you see him, Assalamu alaikum, brother. Thank you for saving my life. Give you a big hug. Not, hey, can I kiss your shoes out of you? No, it's not gonna be like that. See? Definitely not. And I say this. No, I'm not going to say that because that just get things mixed up. See? No. I don't, the people that's trying to work with me, I don't. Right? Someone call me Brother Jeffrey, right? They call me master if they want to. Not master like slave master. It's like you call Farad master. Not because he's your master, because he's mastered Islam, mastered mathematics. That's why you put those planes out there. That proves it, right? So you don't call my master for nothing. You call him master because he mastered something, right? So if I master karate, you call me a master karate. See? So I say I qualify on what I'm master of. Master of Al-Injil. Right? So I can take that title. But I'm not, if someone wants to use it, fine. Right? But I'm still Brother Suleiman. Period. Right? Okay, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.